if they're suffering inside, or they have a certain kind of feeling, or they have some kind of opinion. There just seems to be a growing gap between the two partners as the relationship grows. That's number one. And second was substance abuse. So is that what you've seen in your experience as well?
100%. I think substance abuse is real, and it's across all communities.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I want to put this there. Domestic violence is across all communities, and I can tell you as someone with boots on the ground, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no one particular community that is absolved of it, or just one particular community or members of one community that are being that are victims of intimate partner violence.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's across the board. Again, when it comes to substance abuse, it's the same thing. And substance abuse, okay, you have addictions to alcohol and so on and so forth. You have that, but you also have addiction to hard drugs.
Yes.
And the other issue is, and I tell people, many of us can potentially be one decision away from our life spiraling out of control. What do I mean by that? Let's say, God forbid, someone gets into an accident, and they survive that accident. However, they are in immense pain, and they're given, painkillers, high dosages of painkillers, and that high dosages of painkillers allows them to live in a certain way and appreciate life, or whatever it is, at least pain, they're able to manage pain.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, those painkillers are no longer being prescribed to them. And then they have to resort to other mechanisms, right? To street drugs and so on and so forth in order to alleviate some of that. Because there's over-dependence on drugs. And then all of a sudden, when there is that dependence of drugs, sometimes there's that pulling away, essentially, cold turkey method that gets employed. And they don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
Right? And because of that, ending up on the street, selling their house, marriage breaks down, so on and so forth. And I've seen fairly successful individuals' lives, spiraling out of control.
But that's kind of a mishap. So that's an accident that happened. Person went through a period of a lot of pain, physical pain, injuries, and they had to take morphine or high doses of Tylenol 3 and all sorts of other kinds of painkillers, and they develop a dependency. And when they come off of that, when they've kind of healed, now they have a dependency, and they're trying to get that through various other recreational drugs. But there's a lot of people that are now choosing to take recreational drugs because our government in Canada has become quite lenient in that regard, starting with a lot of the kind of shops that have opened up where cannabis is very easily available, but that was kind of the starting point. And now we see what's happened, for example, in Vancouver as a test where they kind of decriminalized, let's say, hard drugs, and there's a push that some of that might come to Toronto and some other cities, so that is allowing easier access to some of the hard drugs and people getting away with it.
Yeah, so when it comes to that, I think the assumption is because you legalize something, that more people are gonna be involved in that, right? That's one assumption, right? And that may be true for some.
Well, you removed an obstacle of fear of punishment.
Exactly, but ordinarily you don't see, like, unless it's impaired driving, cannabis-induced impaired driving, you don't see connection of criminality with, let's say, cannabis per se, right? But you will see, so you'll have, I think you'll see that more when it comes to alcohol dependency.
That's right. That's another different agent, completely different agent. Yep.
So and because of that, I think it does negatively impact a lot of folks. But I don't know if legalizing it or not legalizing it necessarily makes a difference per se. It may make some difference, and I don't. And when you have
they can criminalize hard drugs all they want, but no one's ever gonna criminalize alcohol. So that always exists, and as a lot of people will abuse alcohol, they get drunk and they'll do things when they're drunk which they wouldn't have normally done, and we definitely see that. So the person I was speaking with, they were saying that just a lot of people are getting drunk. In the Muslim community, we don't usually drink, but there are people that have fallen into that. And once they are kind of into that habit, a lot of, wives are calling in and saying, my husband has become quite dependent on alcohol. He gets drunk every day. And, when he's angry and he's drunk, he beats me up and he beats up the kids. And, what has happened to him? Can you help out? And that kind of problem is what.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem that's facing all members of our community. I think, and it's unfortunate.